Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the premier destination for sophisticated celebrity analysis. Welcome to Turkish series stars. In a world that shouts from every corner, we lean in to hear the whispers, and tonight those whispers gathered under the glow of a cinema marquee in Istanbul. The industry might thrive on scandal and breaking headlines, but sometimes the truest story is told in quiet gestures, exchanged glances, and the simple decision to step into the light together. That is precisely what unfolded when two stars, so practiced at turning chaos into calm, walked into a crowded shopping mall like any couple on an ordinary date night. We are speaking of course, about the enigmatic and beloved duo, Ozan Baba and Sinem. For weeks, perhaps months, rumor engines spun themselves breathless, claiming distance, hinting at cold silences, pointing to demanding schedules and clashing commitments. Insiders murmured, fans debated, and the city itself seemed to wait for a sign. Last night, that sign flickered to life above a theater entrance, where the simplest image told the most complicated story: two hands interlocked, two expressions serene, two careers often on different paths choosing, just for an evening, to walk the same corridor together. Before we follow them into that lobby, if you value our devotion to detail, remember to subscribe to Turkish series stars. Your support keeps our eyes sharp, our questions honest, and our storytelling tender. Now, let us step into the hum of that cinema and the heartbeat of the moment. The modern celebrity narrative is usually drafted in conference rooms and delivered with precision. Yet true romance, the kind that refuses choreography, slips through the unscripted spaces. Ozan Baba and Sinem, who have protected the sanctity of their connection with almost feral determination, appeared not at a private screening nor in a cordoned VIP lounge, but in the most democratic arena of all, a public movie theater, in the center of a busy shopping mall where neon signs glow, escalators hum, and the air smells faintly of caramelized sugar. For a pair that many have called elusive in the past season. Surfacing in headlines only through back corridor hints and unreliable whispers, this was a declaration of normalcy, and it was almost defiant in its simplicity. They did not cut through the crowd with a phalanx of bodyguards. No back entrance swallowed them, no velvet rope parted with a nod to status. They crossed the threshold like any couple craving a few hours of escape, palm to palm, fingers threaded together with that quiet certainty you cannot manufacture. Their look for the night was stripped of ornament. No elaborate styling, no red carpet silhouettes, no gleaming jewelry designed to speak louder than feelings. Instead, they chose softness and ease, denim, neutral tones, fabrics that move with breath, like two people prioritizing each other over the performance of being seen. The atmosphere changed the moment they appeared. In a mall, sound flows in waves, but a hush can carry farther than noise, and the hush that rippled through the lobby traveled from the doors to the ticket counter in a heartbeat. Conversations froze mid-sentence. Eyes flicked to confirm what hearts already suspected. Is it really them? There was no hashtag, no stunt, no planted tip announcing their arrival, only the visual certainty of familiarity meeting awe. Yet for all the attention pouring over them, they seemed unshaken, almost anchored. There was no scramble for tickets, no skittish glances over shoulders tracking lenses. They moved with a deliberate calm, slowing time the way only the very grounded can. Someone said they smiled with their eyes more than their mouths, a half-laugh shared at the surreal attention, a pulse of private humor that glowed between them. In that glow, the tension of months appeared to melt. Their choice of film? Romantic, the genre that mirrors the narrative fans have woven around them for years. Inside the dim theater, a brief stir accompanied their entrance. Imagine settling in for a quiet night at the movies and realizing two of the country's most watched hearts have taken seats just a few rows away. Even so, when the previews faded and the screen filled with light, they faded too, blending into the dark not as public figures, but as two people experiencing the same story at the same time. Through the screening there were no distractions, no glaringly staged whispers for effect. Their attention remained forward, their shoulders relaxed, their hands occasionally brushing as the plot rose and fell. When the credits rolled and the lights warmed the room again, something small but meaningful unfolded. Witnesses noticed Ozan turn to Sinem with the kind of smile that lives in the corners of the eyes, born not of performance but recognition. For a few quiet seconds, their conversation seemed to hover in the air. Not loud enough to catch words, but close enough to see the cadence. Perhaps they traded favorite lines, perhaps they teased a predictable twist, perhaps they tucked away a scene to discuss later over late-night tea. Whatever it was, it looked like two people who enjoy being together, who nourish their bond not with fireworks on social media but with the gentle rhythm of shared tastes and tender critiques. The surprise of their entrance morphed into the statement of their exit. By the time they rose from their seats, word had spread. Outside, a thicket of lenses waited, humming with anticipation. As the theater doors opened to the night, flashbulbs bloomed like sudden stars, and the questions came like arrows. Are the breakup rumors true? How is the relationship really going? Are you working on a new project together? Each inquiry was sharpened to draw blood or confession. Yet Ozan and Sinem wore silence like armor. There were no denials, no confirmations, no catchy line for morning talk shows. Instead, they offered what felt more potent than 1,000 words, a pair of steady smiles. Sinem's expression in particular carried a soft clarity, a serenity that read as we know who we are and owe nothing more than this moment. Ozan stood beside her with that practiced grace he brings to every set, protective without being possessive, calm without being cold, a shield built of presence rather than distance. Through the flurry, they did not separate for even a heartbeat. Then came the detail that sent analysts into overdrive, not because it was extravagant, but because simplicity cuts deeper. As they reached their car, Ozan stepped ahead with fluid ease and opened the door for Sinem. In an era that sometimes forgets small courtesies, the gesture landed with surprising weight. It read as respect, as tenderness, as a promise that the rituals of care still matter when cameras intrude. Sinem's response, a warm look, a grateful smile that reached him before she slipped into the seat, completed a wordless conversation. That exchange, captured by lenses yet unable to be scripted any better than it was, became the night's most resonant image. And so we turn to you, the heart of the Turkish series stars community. What do you make of this silent statement? Do actions, when distilled to their purest form, speak louder than any carefully prepared press note? In an age of oversharing, is their refusal to feed the frenzy a gesture of arrogance, or a masterclass in grace? Tell us what you think in the comments, and if you want to help us keep delivering these deep, compassionate breakdowns, joining our channel as a supporter makes all the difference. Your encouragement keeps our lights on and our curiosity brave. What happened after the doors shut and the city's noise thinned to a hum? According to those close to the couple, there was no dramatic debrief inside that car. No frantic discussion of angles and narratives, no replay of flashbulbs. They drove off with the soft rhythm of a couple coming home from a perfectly ordinary night. This quiet tells its own story. It suggests a relationship that has shifted into a steadier gear, one where rumors bounce off rather than burrow in. For months, the dominant theory insisted that relentless filming, divergent schedules, and international commitments had carved a canyon between them. His long days on intense sets, her tight calendar of shoots and rehearsals, these were recited like coordinates of inevitable distance. Yet a single peaceful outing seems to have rearranged those coordinates, pulling them into a shape that looks less like separation and more like balance. Online, images from the night traveled at the speed of a heartbeat, trending within minutes. The digital chorus did what it always does, divided itself and sang at full volume. Some voices insisted the pictures left nothing else to say. Others poured out affectionate messages about their humility, their composure, their refusal to turn romance into spectacle. One fan said they watched the film like any couple that forgot the world existed for a while. Another marveled at how their harmony felt both old and brand new, like a favorite song performed with fresh breath. Here is what insiders have long understood. Ozan and Sinem have always preferred the quieter path. After a day of relentless demands, they do not chase the glitter of thrumming parties or glass-walled lounges. They seem to seek instead the grounding ordinary, the hush of a theater, the sweet salt of popcorn, the comfort of a hand warming another in the dark. It is paradoxical and perfect that the way they avoid performing their relationship is precisely what makes it so compelling. They are not auditioning for our approval. They are living for themselves, and the rest simply shows. So, is this the start of a new chapter? Every sign points in that direction, but it is not a chapter that demands trumpets. It looks like a chapter that honors equilibrium. It recognizes the line between what the world may see and what the heart must keep. It rejects timelines prepared for press cycles and embraces the slow, private cadence of real affection. By appearing together, relaxed and unified, without issuing a single syllable of explanation, they reclaimed their story. They reminded us that love is not the statement delivered to cameras, it is the hand that never lets go when cameras flash and fade. If you tilt your head and listen closely to Last Night, you can hear a simple melody. A movie night. A stroll through a crowded mall. A door opened not for show but for care. A pair of smiles that answered 100 questions without uttering any words. Ozan Baba and Sinem did not fight the rumors, they outlasted them by refusing to feed them. In the end, the truth of their connection rang out in small notes, each one clear, each one tender, together forming a harmony that lingered long after the credits ended. That harmony feels like a promise. Of steadiness, of choice, of two people deciding again and again to meet in the middle, even when the world is loud. Thank you for spending this evening with Turkish series stars. If this intimate look offered you a fresh lens on privacy and presence, remember to like, subscribe, and share with those who love to read between the lines. And if you wish to be part of our inner circle, becoming a channel member is the best way to support careful storytelling that treats celebrity not as a spectacle, but as a human story told in careful beats. Until we meet again, keep your ears tuned to the softest sounds, because sometimes, as Last Night proved, silence can be the loudest song of all.